Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? It's Yoshinator195 coming at you with another old school gaming commentary. And in today's episode, I want to talk about just showing up. It's an important kind of philosophy that I love to embrace, in the sense that whenever I'm working on something that's difficult, something that I really am passionate about, that I know I want to do it deep down, but it's hard, and it's not always very comfortable to do so. I just try to think about those three words in the sense of just show up. And even when I'm talking about it, just thinking about today, I was like, man, I kind of had a good feeling with videos yesterday, and I was like, I felt like I was in such a nice flow, and I was making, a few commentaries, and it just kept coming out one after the other, and I was like, this is great. And then today, I'm like, man, what happened to that flow? Like, my brain doesn't feel like as good as it used to yesterday, and it just, it just feels off. I can't do this right now. I don't have the same mentality anymore. And you know what? I might just leave it till tomorrow, or just whenever I'm feeling happier or whatever. You get those moments where you just feel kind of low in energy, or you just seem kind of ever so slightly off. But then I'm like, man, just show up, just do the thing. And no matter how hard it is, just keep going. And it also just reminds me of so many videos where I've gone when I go running, and I put on I just look up some inspirational, motivational kind of gym running videos, and there's these great montages, compilations. They're all very serious, and they have epic, inspiring music. I'm not trying to disparage it, but they're also a little bit similar in the sense. But at a certain point, after I listen to them, after 10 minutes or 15 minutes into my run, it's just it kind of, I don't know, brings something out of me. There's something deep down that I don't know if I was aware of, or I just kind of forgot about it. When I'm talking about that kind of energy where you're almost on the verge of giving up. But then you hear something that this person says, particularly in something inspirational, and it's just man, boom, I'm back in it. I'm good to go. All stations, guns blazing. And it reminds me, I told my friend when we used to go to gym together, and we'd have a gym playlist, and he said the importance of having really dedicated set songs that you kind of return to and that you love listening to can help you genuinely lift heavier weights, in the sense that you think about something that you're trying to go for a personal best, and man, that moment, that song, and I think he was referring to Goku just yelling, screaming, and he just lifts like a madman. There's something about it that I completely resonated with him, and I just agree to this day, where I'll still wait maybe for that epic drop to happen, and I'm like, boom, let's I'm just jacked. I'm jacked to the tits. And I'm just everything kind of fades away, and then you're just in this zone for those next 10-15 seconds, and man, just I can't kind of explain it apart from the feeling of just feeling this urge to be able to do something that you never thought was kind of possible, and finding those songs, whatever tickles your fancy, that just gets you going. But I particularly, if you've never tried or experimented with something a gym inspirational playlist, give it a shot. Find something that isn't maybe that cringy, but just is able to kind of inspire you to some degree, and then put it on, go to the gym, and then feel wow, this is actually making me lift bigger. Because compare yourself if you go to the gym without listening to music or, headphones, and if you do it with like just yourself without a friend, chances are you might feel like bored and you get distracted easily, and your lift kind of suffers in that sense. You just don't feel like you can do it. And there's like that famous expression, the man who thinks that they can and the man who thinks that they can't are both right, which is a whole other video for another day. But in saying all of that, I think just going to the gym, for instance, is important, and in the sense that you might not always hit your target. Just like I'm, say, doing this commentary, and I feel like, man, yesterday's commentary was so much better. I had such a better question to do, and I just could explain it. I felt like I was in such a state of flow. Like now I'm just talking absolute horse crap and I'm just rambling on. What am I doing here? But the fact that you show up to something is the goal, in the sense that you don't always have to get a bullseye. You just have to throw the dart in the first place. That's like the analogy that I kind of love returning to. And I was talking to a friend, I was like, man, I might not always get like the PB at the gym, but just the fact that I walked into it is already like a success story in itself. And I'm not saying that gives you the credence to be like, to go lazy and then not do a hard session. Try to go as hard as you can still, but just take the onus in that. The fact that you showed up is so much better than if you had just stayed at home, because again, you might not always get a 10 out of 10 and might not be your day, but the fact that you're attempting something is so much better than doing nothing, and that's kind of what I want to get at. So hopefully I've kind of explained that in some way that is like, as I'm not trying to be pretentious or cringy, and I'm not trying to say like this commentary is like, so good because of that, because look at me, I just showed up and I'm doing this commentary right now. But I don't know, like I just I love trying to channel that mentality when there's things that like I off-put, and I just don't feel like doing it. It's so easy to not show up, and it's so easy to just get distracted by something else. But again, if you've kind of been following the channel, thinking about like there is no tomorrow, and doing things now because the past version of you is going to be so much more happier if they see this version of you actually doing it. And then later, like Kobe Bryant, like as he said, I think some teacher told him, like, rest at the end, like that's why we get taught homework first, video games later. Like the joy of doing something fun kind of enables this rewarding habit when you do something hard in the first place. So I just, come back to that. It's something that maybe you get installed into when you're a kid and growing up. Hopefully you have good parents that install that kind of reward system behavior. But when you take life into your own hands, when you're an adult, you sometimes kind of just can forget that, and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to like sit on the couch and just watch Netflix, or I'm just going to go potter around the house. And you just like, you ever catch yourself just like walking around the house being like, I don't know what to do. I'm like bored. And I see it like with my parents, like my dad, like God bless him, works his ass off come Monday to Friday. But on the weekend, it's like he's just trying to find things to do to fill his day. And I get it, like he wants to rest. It's the weekend and he's in his 60s. But man, he just seems like restless. He's like doing weird gardening stuff. And it's like, I don't know. To me, it's like, I'm rambling on here, but he's going on into like overindulgence, where he's just like, he's resting too much in that sense. For him, like the hard work is over, where I'm like, to me, that's like the opposite of what I want to do. Like I want to be driven by something and then enjoy the fruits of my reward afterwards. So anyways, I'm rambling on. Just show up. If anything, if you take, that's the biggest takeaway from this video. If there's something that's bothering in you in your life, and something that you just have absolutely no way of knowing how to start, just start. Just start wherever you feel like is best, and just stumble your way to success. You're not going to put the first foot right always. Your first step doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but just make that first step. That's the most important part. That's it for me. Enjoy that 7th place finish, as always. I think one of these days I'll have to show a win, but I honestly have more losses than wins. That's the way Warzone goes. But I'm rambling on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.